Welcome to Developer Stories, where in this series I'm really keen to share with you stories from developers, how they got into tech, some of the challenges they've had, how they've overcome them, where they are now and where they see themselves in a few years. So I'm super excited to share them with you. This is my first episode in the series and I'm super excited to get into this with you. My name's Eddie. I'm really passionate about open source, getting all of you into tech and accelerating your careers. Today I have with me Sylvia and I'm super excited to share Sylvia's story. We met on Twitter probably a few months ago and I've been geeking out back and forth, and Sylvia is very active on Twitter and sharing lots of tips and tricks. But enough for me. Let's hear more from Sylvia. Sylvia, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sylvia. I am a self-taught software developer. I have dyslexia, so I kind of wanted to start this journey hoping to connect with other people in Twitter and on Hashnode on how to start their journey, get on their journey, and just kind of like document my own to just connect with people and help them along their way too.
Awesome, I love that. So before we get into that, I really want to dig deep into that. Where are you dialing in from? Dialing in from is such an odd expression, but where are you calling in from?
Oh yeah, I am from the sunny side of California.
Nice, awesome. I'm right other side of the world in Bali at the moment. So hopefully the internet's holding up across the world. So that's so far so good. So we go right back to the beginning. So what kind of got you involved into tech? I mean, was that straight out of school or college, or did you have another job first and then get into tech? And what was the deciding factor to get into tech?
So actually for me, when I got into tech, I was let go from my job because I had to have surgery. And when I was doing that, I was getting bored. So I was on YouTube trying to learn things. And someone on TikTok actually said that there is an edx.org class for just to learn any kind of things. So I decided to go on there. I don't know exactly how or why I chose, but I ended up on CS50's computer science introduction class. And so when I got on that, from like the curtains to the closing scenes of that lecture, it was like 2 hours. But the whole time it just took me. I was so like enthralled with like the binary code, the fact that computers have their own language, like 1001. And then since then, I just been on this journey.
That's awesome. So I really want to jump ahead for a moment right to where we are today to give people kind of insight of what's coming up, and then we're going to talk through the journey. So where are you today? Like, are you working in tech? Are you looking for a job? Whereabouts are you at the moment?
So currently now I'm looking for a job in tech. I made my portfolio and then I'm adding some projects and slowly bit by bit. And then until then, I'm learning DSA, so data structures and algorithms, as well as just more fine-tuning my JavaScript, HTML, and CSS.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm really, really keen to fill in the gap. So now we've got the beginning and we've got the end. So what happened in between? So where did you learn this? What communities did you join? Any projects you've been involved in? Any technologies that you're really passionate about?
Yeah, so where I started off was the CS50 course. And then towards that, I was just kind of by myself. I wasn't in any community or anything like that. I actually started off on Instagram, but there's not really, or I didn't really find a big base on Instagram. And someone told me everyone's on Twitter. So I decided to go on Twitter, and instantly I had 2 people follow me. It was Mike Chen and Elise. They both followed me when I had like 1 or 2 subscribers. And so they kind of helped me along the way. And a lot of people on tech actually on Twitter, they helped me kind of guide me, push me to specific places. So from there, I just been going on like YouTube and Google just to kind of help me with my journey. But I really would think that Twitter would be the most important impact on my journey.
That's awesome. It's great to hear that when you joined the community, we're supporting you straight from day one. So that's awesome. Those are 2 amazing people. So anyone, definitely go and follow obviously Sylvia and follow Elise and Mike. Definitely. Okay, so we've talked also about what attracted you into tech and how you got into it. I think that's such an awesome story. It's great that, I think it will encourage and inspire people. They don't have to have that clear mind that I want to get into coding or I want to talk to computers. It was, you discovered that in a kind of, I suppose, a roundabout way. But yeah. I'm so glad that you got there, and I'm so glad that you're happy, and it's awesome to have you in tech.
Yeah, thank you.
So what were some of the challenges that you faced in tech?
Well, the main challenge, well, there's two challenges. One is I'm dyslexic, so I see numbers backwards sometimes. So I will see 34 as 43, or sometimes my sentences will converge with each other. So in code, there's like a lot of letters and numbers kind of mixed together, especially the brackets. That was my first main problem, is trying to get over that hump and even just think that I can do it in the first place. And then the second challenge is trying to figure out what to do or where to go, especially after I took CS50. I wasn't entirely sure what route to even, like what kind of job this would even entail. I just wanted to learn more about computers and learn more about coding. I wasn't thinking of like a career, I just wanted to learn it. So just that roadmap, I really didn't have one. So that was the main issue for me, was just trying to figure out where to go from there.
That's really, really interesting. You're right. A roadmap is, it's not very clear what we want to do next, and we can carve out our own paths as well, but it's good to have like a starting point and to see if that is for us. If not, we'll do something slightly different. So I do definitely see that as a challenge. And the brackets, like I can't imagine the challenges you have with the brackets, because I don't think I'm dyslexic, but I have challenges with the brackets. So yeah, it must be hard. Is there any particular plugin that you use to help with that, or is it just practice?
Well, I use if you're on VS Code, I use the Prettier extension. It makes all the brackets different colors. That definitely helps.
That's very true. I use that as well. That is awesome. Are there any other challenges that maybe the community can help you with at the moment? So I'd be really keen to see if anyone's watching. Maybe they can help you out. I know you mentioned you're looking for a job as well. Any particular area and technologies you're looking for?
For me personally, I love the front end. I love CSS, and JavaScript is really, really fun to work with. To me, I like programming because to me it's like an art form, and just to be able to see your code turn into like a website, or just to see the responsive page go into something else is really cool. I feel like the tech community and just the community in general, in my opinion, everyone is doing so much, giving their free time, doing everything for everyone, like the open source community, giving and putting in so much effort for free for the most part. And then there's so many mentors and teachers just giving out free resources. I guess the only thing I could think of is like just keep doing what they're doing, and like just encourage people on their journey along the way. And that's the best thing.
That's awesome. And you're doing the same, right? I see you on Twitter encouraging so many people. We're doing this recording now, which is going to encourage so many people. And so I think it's great. I think it's awesome how no matter where people are in their tech journey or adventures, they're all kind of giving back. And I really love that, because I really believe someone who's 1 week into their kind of journey can help someone where they were 1 week ago. So I think that's awesome. And you mentioned that it's very kind of creative in tech, and it is like an art. You're right. We can be so creative, and we could all try and code a particular thing, but we would all do it very differently. And I mean, that's part of the fun, and that's why I really enjoy it.
You feel, yeah.
So who inspires you in tech? Anyone in particular you want to give them a shout out?
So for me personally, the main 2 to 3 people that really inspired me in tech would definitely be Mike Chen. On his Twitter, I think it's generic Mike. He is just so helpful. And also Shashi who codes on tech Twitter. They expect so much from themselves and from other people, like good quality coding. You can really see that they think that even if you started on day 1, day 10 years down the line, they're expecting that good quality code and for you just to be the best developer that you can be. So they really have encouraged me to make sure my code is clean, to just continue trying, and even like asking the right questions and then putting in the effort into making sure that you don't forget along your journey to help others. But definitely them too, they've really helped me.
That's awesome. And Eddie as well.
Of course.
That's a blooper as well, I think. Where do you see yourself in the next few years?
In the next few years, I kind of really want to work on a project mainly for like mental health. I feel like that's very important to include into a project. So I really want to be in a development job that kind of either closely ties in with that, or have enough of my own skills to create a project that really works for other people's mental health issues. That really became important for me because like a couple of weeks back, I noticed on the tech community, there was a couple of people who felt burned out, they felt really tired, and they felt exhausted, but I don't feel like they had like people to talk to, or just that headspace that they were in really made me like sad to see people in that kind of way. So I wanted to create something, I don't know yet what, but I want to create something that gives people, you know, something to lean on, or that support system. But that's what I really want to do.
I love that. Hopefully it'll be open source so we can all get involved and contribute and help as well.
Ooh, that'd be nice, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Especially since I saw your tip, if you start a project first thing you gotta do is put it on open source.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of projects that I've just created a repo of a title, and I made like a few issues, just some notes, and I think, okay, I'll go to sleep and I'll pick it up in the morning. Wake up in the morning, got more issues, got like 10 pull requests. People have already like, you know, built so many features, and it's awesome. I really love the community, and they really motivate me, like no matter where they are in the world, no matter, you know, what technologies they're working on, where they are in their journey, they really, really motivate me. But also on the flip side, I do get messages sometimes when people say, hey, you know, you've been putting out a lot of content, you've been going to lots of events, you know, you okay, take some time for yourself. And so I really like how they are thoughtful on that side as well. So that's why your app idea is got the cogs turning in my head, and I'm thinking, I had an idea before, maybe we'll talk about after the recording, but I mentioned it briefly now. So I wanted to do kind of like an app, which is almost like Twitter, but like more for stand-up. So today I plan to do this, yesterday I did this, and this is my blocker. Maybe someone can help with that. So that was my idea. But also I'm thinking maybe of incorporating a fourth field, which is kind of an out of 10, how am I feeling today? So if someone's like graph over time starts deteriorating, maybe it could, you know, people in the community say, hey, you know, a month ago you were like an 8, then a couple of weeks later you kind of, you know, went down to like a 6, now you're a 4. Is there anything we can help with? And it's funny how the smallest thing of someone helping can be huge to someone else. So we talked about the next few years, which sounds exciting. I think that's great. What do you wish you knew when you first started out?
What I wish I would have known when I first started out is, I feel like a lot of people touch upon this subject, but the whole fact of like your journey, like where you are versus where everyone else is. I really believe that where you are on your journey is where you should be. You shouldn't be where someone else is. You shouldn't be faster or slower than someone else. I compared myself so much in the beginning. I didn't even have a portfolio in the beginning. It wasn't until I saw Sashi, who was doing those portfolio Fridays, and I was like, I don't even have a portfolio. I gotta make one first. And that's the reason why I made one, because I just wanted it to be reviewed. But I was comparing myself at the same time because I saw all these people have their own portfolios ready, and I saw that there's projects on them. I didn't even have a project either. And so it was just like, it kept piling on me, like the comparison. And I still do it right now, but I feel like in the beginning, if I don't know, just to take my time, not compare, just ease into the whole journey, I feel like I would have been a whole lot less stressed and just more open and welcomed just to take in other people's ideas, or just like to interact with people rather than comparing myself.
I love that. It's really good. So hopefully people watching can, you know, take that on board and learn from that as well. It's great that we can all learn from each other's mistakes. Mm-hmm. So thank you for sharing that. So we're coming to an end now, so I will ask you in a minute any closing notes you'd like to add. But I mean, it's been great for you to be so open and honest about sharing your story. I mean, it's super interesting. I know it's going to help lots of people as well. What closing notes would you like to add? I mean, maybe there's someone who is where you were a few months ago. So what conclusion, how would you wrap it all up, and what advice would you give to people?
The best advice I would give to people is you're not drowning. If you think about it, you're more like, imagine that as if you're floating. Because if you're in this tech field, or if you're on your journey, whether you're 5 days or 10 years into it, I feel like it's very important for you to realize you're not stuck in a place. And you don't have to be on this journey if you don't want to be on it. And then if you really, really love it, even if you're stuck or you need help, the biggest advice is if you really do need help, just to ask somebody. Even if you think your question is dumb, there's no such thing as a dumb question, but even if you feel like it is, you should just ask anyways. Like the amount of feedback I got, even though I was petrified of just asking someone for help, was in no comparison to what my fears were. So my best advice is whatever your fears are, just face them. Just go for it. Do what you want to do. If it's coding, just keep going. Like no matter what happens, you cannot give up.
I love that. That's awesome. And you gave me the idea to also mention that tech is so big that if people start with coding and they don't want to continue with coding, but they want to stay in tech, they can absolutely do that. Or vice versa. I've seen people who are product owners, maybe got into, say, for example, testing, and then realized they loved the coding and then got into coding that way. So there's just so many ways and so many places and positions in tech that I think it's super exciting. And the coding is actually a small part of it, because we need to collaborate, communicate, we need to work with testers and UI, UX people, and it's just, tech is so much fun, and it's great to see such a variety of people taking different journeys into tech and routes through it as well, which I think is just super, super exciting. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I really, really appreciate it, and everyone else does. Everyone, don't forget to go follow Sylvia on Twitter as well, and on GitHub, and see what Sylvia is up to. Welcome to the Developer Series. Developer Series? That's terrible. Developer Stories. It's not a good start. Today with me, I have Sylvia. Hopefully I've pronounced that right.
Yes,
by the way.
that's correct.
I meant to check with you first. Okay, brilliant.